and today we're going to pick up right where we left off yesterday. We're talking on the 6 personal perspectives and in review. So the 6 personal perspectives from Gary Keller is number 1, commit to self-mastery. 2, commit to the 80-20 principle. 3, move from E to P. 4, the foundation of your action plan should be learning-based. 5, remove your limiting beliefs. And 6, be accountable. So in review from yesterday, we dove deep on commit to self-mastery. And I shared with you that self-mastery is the possession, that means you own it, of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make you the master of you. Not the master of everybody else, the master of you. High achievers understand that before they can pursue mastery of any endeavor. So success is 90% how we think, 10% skill set. And if we broke down what is included in that 10% skill set, lead generation, mastering your scripts, overcoming objections, closing for the appointment, and so on, that's the endeavor. And here's what Gary says. High achievers understand that before they can pursue mastery of any endeavor, in other words, before I can pursue mastery of lead generation, of my scripts, of overcoming objections, I have to choose to commit to pursuing a baseline of self-mastery that once attained will allow me to master other things outside myself. So before I can master lead generation, I must master me. Now, I want to get into a conversation on the 80-20 rule, and we're going to go into the MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. But before we do that, I just want to share from the Rainmaker my thoughts on the 80-20 rule. Everybody cross your fingers and hope this works. There we go. Y'all looking at my Facebook page? Somebody give me a thumbs up.
Yes.
Cool. Good stuff. Okay, so time block your big rocks. Let's start with a large bucket. This is right from the Rainmaker. If we want to fill the bucket up with large rocks, small rocks, pebbles, and sand, would we be able to get the same amount in the bucket if we started with the small stuff first and worked our way up to the big rocks?
Oh.
No, of course not. However, if you started with the big rocks first and worked your way down to the sand, the answer is yes. You need to treat your schedule the same way. Look at it like this. Your big rocks in business are lead generation. So I'm identifying the 20%. If you're taking notes, this is your 20%. So your big rocks in business are lead generation, meeting with buyers and sellers, taking listings, writing contracts, and it all starts with lead generation. The previous list should be considered as your 20%. And Gary Keller, author of The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, says that until your 20% is complete, everything and everyone else is a distraction. Until your 20% is complete, everything and everyone else is a distraction. Most people fill their buckets with a daily to-do list, with busy work, putting out fires, designing websites, designing business cards, small talk with coworkers, coffee pot conversations, small rocks, pebbles, and sand that are filling their buckets, and now there is no room for the big rocks. The solution to this challenge is working from a time-blocked routine. Time block 1 week at a time, starting with faith, family, and personal growth. So if we looked at, I'd love to find a way to make this bigger and I can't. Hopefully you guys can see this. If we looked at a week in a glance, this is what your week should look like. First of all, at the beginning of every day, you have time blocked for personal growth. It's your morning routine. All successful people have a lot of things in common. And one of the things they have in common is they get up early and they have a morning routine. Then I'm going to have 3 hours blocked for lead generation. All of my new opportunities face-to-face appointments with buyers and sellers are highlighted in yellow, and all of my listing appointments and buyer consultations are highlighted in green. And what's the most important color on this page?
Green.
Green.
Yellow.
Yellow.
What if I told you it was pink? What if I said it was pink?
Family time. Family time.
There you go. There you go, Alex. The most important color on this page is pink. You don't schedule family around work. You schedule work around family.
John, quick question for you. How far in advance do you do your calendar?
Well, the first 4 hours of every day, a year ahead of time.
Okay.
So it's always, in other words, the first 4 hours of every day is always the same. It's always personal growth followed by lead generation, Alex. The other thing that always goes into my calendar first is family time. Family time, vacation. So that's blocked a year in advance as well. When I was a part of Gary Keller's Top 100 Mastermind 18 years ago, we had to wait for John, that's his son, for John's school calendar to come out because Gary would plan his vacation around John's school calendar. And before Keller Williams Realty International released their schedule, Gary Keller had to find out what his personal time looked like that year. The entire company revolved around his son's school calendar. You guys get that?
Perfect.
Okay. All right, so I'm jumping into the text. And I am on page 97, right? MREA, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Cool. There is an amazing principle in life that when you fully understand will probably change your life forever. It's called Pareto's Principle, or the 80-20 rule. 80% of our results will come from 20% of our actions. And most people believe that time and effort alone deliver results. And while this may be true, the 80-20 rule teaches us that time and effort on the 20% that really matters will deliver 80% of the results we seek. The truth is that when our actions are not focused on the 20% that matters, the results we want usually don't show up. Doing a lot of things is never a substitute for doing the right things. Now, I'm a note taker. Guys, if you're taking notes, please write that down. Doing a lot of things is never a substitute for doing the right things. Never let the things that matter least get in the way of the things that matter most. Like everything else, real estate sales has its 20%. The 20% the Millionaire Real Estate Agent focuses on are the 3 L's: leads, listings, and leverage. So one of the exercises that I would have you do is to take a sheet of paper and block it into 15-minute time increments, starting at 8 a.m. in the morning. And every 15 minutes, write down what you did. Do that for 30 days. Write down everything you did that day in 15-minute increments. At the end of 30 days, go back and look at your list. And then ask yourself, if I worked 10 hours, what percentage of the time that I worked was on the 20%? And here's what you're going to find. Most of you will find that it's less than 30% of your time. Now, how do you double your results? Double the amount of time you spend on your 20%. How do you do that? Well, Stephen Covey in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, breaks time down into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 is urgent and important. Quadrant 2 is not urgent and important. Quadrant 3 is urgent and not important. And quadrant 4 is not urgent and not important. Now, quadrant 1 is urgent and important. Can you choose not to do those things? The answer is no. Well, you could, but if you choose not to do those quadrant 1 activities, something bad is going to happen. You have a deal that's falling apart, Eddie, and it requires your immediate attention or the deal's not going to close. Quadrant 1. Quadrant 2, not urgent and important. By the way, that's your 20%. Everything that is in your 20% is in quadrant 2. If I don't lead generate today, nothing bad is going to happen. However, in other words, it's not urgent. In other words, however, it's important. It's critically important to the success of my business. Now, urgent and not important is things that are urgent to other people. It's your phone ringing. It wants to be answered. It's urgent. But however, it may not be important. It's the person knocking on your door and saying, got a minute. It's urgent because it's right in front of you. However, it may not be important. It may be something that you could time block for later in the day or leverage to another member of your team. And then quadrant 4, not urgent and not important, those are time wasters. Those are just the conversations that you have by the coffee pot or in the office, or things. Did you see the football game last night? That type of conversation. And how do you create more time in order to double the amount of time that you spend on your 20%? The answer is not work more. The answer is not work more hours. The answer is to take time away from quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. That's the answer. Now, remember, quadrant 1 can't be ignored. However, you can reduce the number of things that fall in quadrant 1 by not procrastinating, by taking care of things proactively. And you'll reduce those fires that you have to put out, and you'll reduce the amount of time that you have to spend in quadrant 1. One more thing before I move on. The more time you spend in quadrant 1, the faster you're going to get burned out, because quadrant 1 will burn you out and beat you up. All right, moving on. Like everything else, real estate sales has its 20%. The 20% the millionaire real estate agent focuses on are the 3 L's: leads, listings, leverage. Nothing is more important. Words matter. Nothing is more important to your sales career than prospective buyers and sellers. To have a viable business, you must simply have the client leads. To have a business that pays you a lot of money, you will need lots of leads. What you have to embrace is the fact that it is the number of qualified leads you have that will either grow your business, keep you in business, or put you out of business. If I told you there was an out-of-town buyer who just got in this morning and will be paying cash and needs to purchase a home by the end of the day, could any of you help them out? Raise your hand if you could find time to help them out, right? Raise your hand. Absolutely. Everybody here is raising their hand. Now, what if I told you there's a buyer who just arrived today and needs to buy a home? They're there. You just need to go find them. And that's lead generation. Ryan, it's as simple as, hey, Alex, just out of curiosity, who do you know that's looking to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate? Now, if I ask that question to enough people, I'm going to hear, wow, I can't believe you called. Eddie is a friend of mine who's in town for the weekend to buy a home. You should call Eddie. Boom. Opportunity. Opportunity because I called enough people and I asked, who do you know that's looking to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate? In a prosperous market, there are usually many agents relying on passive lead generation, casual referrals, and luck to create business. That's called lead receiving. Unfortunately, real estate agents who are in the business of lead receiving may find themselves selling fewer houses when the market shifts. If you count on the market to deliver leads when times are good, you better count on it to take them away when times are bad. So what's the solution? The solution is to be prospecting based. And I'm going to hear, I don't like to prospect. I don't like to call for sell by owners. I don't like cold calling. I don't like calling expired listings. And my answer to that is, cool, you don't have to. If you will build a database of relationships of people who know you, like you, and would work with you, and you work those relationships, and you systematically and consistently communicate with your database, and you systematically and consistently ask on every conversation, who do you know that's looking to buy or sell a home? You will get your unfair share of leads, and you will always hit your goals. Now, I'm just going to ask one more question before I take everybody off mute and we have a conversation. If you don't like cold calling and you're hitting your goals, awesome. Here's my one question. What if you added prospecting to your daily lead generation? What if, even if you don't like it, you added just an hour of day out of 3 hours to call for sell by owners, call expired listings, and circle prospect? What if you added a half hour a day? You're not doing any at all right now, and you added a half hour a day. What would happen to your real estate business? At the very least, you're going to get better, more skilled at prospecting. And the interesting thing that will happen is you'll find yourself liking it and you'll want to do it more. All right, guys, take yourself off mute. Let's talk. Questions, ahas. What's your 80-20 look like? What's your 20% look like?
John,
where do you see gaps in your business? Tamika, awesome. Yeah. Talk to me.
I hated making cold calls because I'm a high I, and rejection is like, you know, no one likes me. And just being on your calls, I do my for sale by owner calls first because I know getting being rejected out of the way and just getting out of the way and having fun with it. And I've just being on the calls with you, I've mastered being on calls with for sale by owners, just literally hearing them and being heard. And they're, you know, I don't get yelled at. I actually land in appointments. It's just awesome. So now I'm excited about making calls every morning. You know, I block 2.5 hours, and that's it's there. It's in my schedule. Don't call me because I'm making calls.
Love it. Love it. Great job.
I got a question for you.
Sure, Alex.
Don't tell anybody. Well, actually, I hear that a lot of people don't like to make calls. Surprising. We've gone through a lot of scripts, but one of the scripts you haven't touched base on, I give you a report saying, hey, Billy Bob's thinking about buying a house. Could you run us through how you would talk to Billy Bob?
Yeah, sure, of course. By the way, I love Billy Bob. I use Billy Bob all the time. Yeah,
awesome.
And Michael Hotman, you're next up, by the way. I see your hand, so you're next. So, Billy Bob, my name is John Dietz. Thank you for taking my call. I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams Realty. I'm sure you're busy, and I only need maybe 2 minutes of your time. The reason I'm calling today is Alex Kublix. He's a good friend of mine, and I think he's pretty good friends with you as well. Asked me to give you a call, and he thought it would be a good idea for you and I to have a conversation.
Easy enough.
Simple, right? There you go. Michael Hotman, talk to me. Valerie, you're next.
Yeah, I was on just watching a video yesterday, and it was geared more towards lenders. But there was a guy in Texas that responded to, he was doing a really good job of building his business. And they asked him, well, what's your secret? He said, I call people. I pick up the phone. And they said, okay, well, maybe you can come and do a webinar for us and show us your secrets. He goes, I just gave it to you. I picked up the phone and I call people when a lead comes in and stuff like that. And it can be that simple. The other thing that in that call, they said, it's like, if you're not doing calls, it's like, just do it and realize the first 2, 3, 4 days that you're going to do it, you're going to hate it, but you've got to push through that sometimes. You just got to push through the uncomfortable, I'm not confident in it. And just talk with people, because I think we listen to ourselves, we listen to the voice in our head sometimes, and it's full of lies. It's full of not who we really come across. I do lots of videos. I love doing videos. And there's a lot of people that are afraid to do videos because they don't like the way they look on the video. And I always tell people, it's like, wake up, because we see you every day. Just do it. And if you just do some of these things, business will come.
Love it. Great job, Michael. Thank you for sharing that. Success is simple, blah, blah, right? And it's not easy. Okay, cool. And it is just as simple as picking up the phone and having conversations. I promise you guys, I just promise you, if you will call and talk to 20 people a day and say, good morning, how are you? How can I help you today? You're going to succeed. Remember, it's just like James said for 27 weeks. Make care calls, not sales calls. If you guys don't like lead generation, it's because your mindset is you're trying to sell something. Change the way you look at things. You're not calling to sell something. You're calling to build relationships and deliver a better experience to the person who chooses to hire you. That is your why. Your why is to deliver a better experience to the people who choose to hire you. You want a better why? My why, Luciana, is at the end of our transaction, you would be so happy with the service script, guys, that you would be so happy with the service that I've provided to you that you would never buy or sell another home again without working with me first. And if you knew of someone who was going to buy or sell a home almost out of a sense of obligation to them, you would tell them that they need to talk to John Dietz first before buying a home. Script. And that's my why. My why is not to get you to hire me. My why is not to list your home or sell your home. Quite honestly, I don't care if you hire me. My why is to deliver a better experience. Valerie, you got your hand up.
Yes, oh gosh, I've gotten so much great inspiration from you as far as making calls. And I actually call and text people. Mm-hmm. I've been getting a lot more success with actually having people respond to me via text. And I was just wondering, are there any good like texting scripts anywhere, or would you recommend that I do my best to get him to pick up the phone, or her?
Sure, Valerie. So I just left you an urgent voicemail, or I just left you a very important voicemail. However, don't listen to the voicemail, just call me back.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, cool. Oh, I'm going to mispronounce your name. Maria?
Marieste?
Maria, say it one more time.
Marieste. It's like Marie, S-T-E at the end. Marieste.
Marieste.
Perfect.
I love your name. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're up.
Well, I just wanted to say something. I understand that Aspires and Feesbos are, we call them now business. They raise their hand, they're ready. Mm-hmm. And I have done it in the past. For some reason, I do very well door knocking. Mm-hmm. I know that during the pandemic, the quarantine, I couldn't do it. As soon as I forgot, maybe a month and a half ago, 2 months, I prepared, in this neighborhood, I have done business and they know me. I prepared a little flyer with the market update, but the most important thing was to ask people, how are you doing? How can I help you? Yes. And I went door knocking to the people know me, because some people were elderly, and I didn't want to go to those that I know they rejected me at one point. Anyway, long story short, there is another realtor that lives next door to a lady that I have connected. And this realtor is a friend of mine, and she's selling her house, and told me, Maria Esther, you won't believe me. My neighbor Laura next door told me that there is a realtor sending her emails every month and flyers, and she's going to sell next month, next year. And she knows she's going to be the realtor. So I say, I'm sure it's you. And from this neighborhood, yesterday I got a phone call, I said, Maria Esther, where have you been? There is a new listing, I want to see it. Another guy that is preparing to sell his house, he wanted to see the competition. So what I'm saying is, I know it may take longer, the connections with door knocking, but for me, I do very well. I connect with people very well, face to face.
Maria Esther. I love, love, love that. And is door knocking lead generation?
It is.
Yes. And if you door knocked every day and you talked to 20 people and you just had conversations, you're building relationships. Are you going to get referrals, and are you going to talk to people who want to buy a home or sell a home?
Yes.
Yes. And can you achieve your goals door knocking every day?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Keep doing it. I love it. Don't stop. Now, if you wanted to add calling for sell by owners and expireds or circle prospecting every day, you could. Now, one thing that I would suggest that you do, if you don't do anything else, is you've got particular neighborhoods that you door knock in, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And they know you and you have relationships with them, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so every time a home sells in that neighborhood, even if it wasn't your listing, do a 3-step circle prospecting marketing campaign around that sold.
Okay, yes.
All right, step number 1, put a door hanger on every door. A home in your neighborhood recently sold. Step number 2, send a postcard to every neighborhood, every neighbor in that neighborhood. A home in your neighborhood recently sold. Great news. The challenge now is there are still buyers who are interested in great homes like yours. And who do you know that might be thinking of selling? Step number 3, go knock on the doors. And when they answer the door, these people know you. And not only do they know you, you have a relationship with them, and they just got a door hanger on their door, plus a postcard in the mail. And now the third conversation is, hey, by the way, I just wanted to follow up on that postcard that I sent you and let you know that home around the corner sold for record price, which is great news. The challenge now is there are buyers who still want to buy a home in your neighborhood. They're looking for great homes like yours. And I was curious, who do you know that might be thinking of selling?
Yes, I prepared the last flyer. There were 2 sales, multiple offers, one sold in 1 day, another one in 2 days with multiple offers. So I put at the bottom of that flyer, there are still buyers. These 2 homes sold in between 1 and 2 days with multiple offers. The buyers that they weren't selected by these sellers are still looking. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Love it. When you show up at the door, have those if it was your listing, have those contracts in your hand. And when you let them know there are still buyers who are interested in great homes like yours, just add, as a matter of fact, here's 2 offers that weren't accepted. These buyers are looking to move in the neighborhood and there's nothing for sale. So I'm out looking for a property for these buyers.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure. Valerie, your hand is up, and that'll be our last conversation.
Sorry, that was, I forgot to put it down.
Leftovers. Okay. All right, one more. Who wants to take us out? You guys are doing this to me again. Every time I say one more, nobody wants to talk.
Me, I got one.
Luciana. I'm going to jump to Luciana because we haven't heard from Luciana in a while. Talk to me.
Yes. I would like you to help me with a call that I want to make it today. I saw this listing, this property going for sale twice and expired twice. And I kind of built a relationship with the owner before, but for some reason he decided to go for somebody else and not list with me. So I want to call him today. I don't really know what I want to say. If I want to mention like, hey, your list expired or not. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that I would handle that exactly that way. I would simply call and say, hey, Luciana, it's John Dietz, Keller Williams Realty. Thank you for taking my call. I'm sure you know by now that your listing came off the market, and I was just curious if you were still interested in selling. If I had a full price offer today, would you want me to bring you the offer? Now, I'm just curious if you're still interested in selling. There's no pause after that because I don't want them to answer just yet. I was just curious if you're still interested in selling. If I had a full price offer today, would you want me to bring you the offer? Now, the other advice that I would give you, Luciana, is connect them to emotion, connect them to motivation, and ask, you know, if your home would have sold, where were you moving to? What's important to you about that? When would you like to be there? If I could show you one way that I could get your home sold in the next 30 days so that you can move to blank, would you be interested in seeing how I could do that?
Perfect.
Okay, Luciana. All right, guys, time to get to, yeah, my pleasure. Time to get to work. It's 20 contacts, not 19, not 18, it's 20. If you're baking a cake and you leave and you only bake it with 95% of the ingredients, the cake is not gonna taste so good. Here's the recipe. It's 20 conversations, not 19, not 18. Every day, focus on getting face-to-face with at least one person who's thinking of selling their home, at least one person who's thinking of buying a home. A year from now, you'll have 250 people in your pipeline. Create a systematic way to follow up with those people. And once you've done that, follow up forever, reject rejection. No is not a word that lives in your vocabulary. Write five handwritten personal notes today. Remember that you are not judged by the number of times you fail, but by the number of times you succeed. And the number of times you succeed is in direct proportion to the number of times you can fail, and keep trying. Make it a great day, everybody.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
My pleasure.